Today we'll be looking at quadratics that are not in standard form and choosing the best way to solve those. So when you're looking at a quadratic equation, you need to first rearrange the equation into standard form. Remember, standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. So we want the highest exponent and then in descending order down to the constant. After you get it in standard form, you're going to decide which method to use. So we have learned the square root method, factoring. So you can factor by GCF or factor using the AC method. And then the last method we've gone over is the quadratic formula. Okay, let's go through some examples and then figure out which methods are best. Okay, so as you can see, this is not in standard form because we need it to equal 0. So we're just going to use inverse operations to get the right side equal to 0. So I'm going to add 2x squared. Remember, you have to do it to the other side. Line it up with the like term. We're also going to add 3. So this is going to become 4x squared plus 36x plus 32, and this side is now 0. So I have a quadratic trinomial. I'm going to try the AC method for this one. So first, I can see that I have a greatest common factor that I can take out from the beginning. Okay, so now I can set up my X puzzle. A times C is 8, B is 9. The solution to the X puzzle is 8 and 1. And now I can factor out, factor by grouping. X plus 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1, so we'll factor out 1. X plus 8. So fully factored, I have 4 times x plus 8 times x plus 1. So I have 3 factors, 4, x plus 8, and x plus 1. Oops. So first, 4 does not equal 0. So that's not going to be one of our answers. X plus 8, we can set that equal to 0. Subtract 8. X equals negative 8. And then x plus 1, we're going to make that equal to 0. And x equals negative 1. So my solutions are negative 8 and negative 1. Example 2. Okay, so first thing I have to do is get this in standard form. I want the right side to equal 0. Sorry, I forgot a letter here. I need it to be negative 8n minus n squared. Okay, this is our equation. So I want the right side to equal 0. So I need to add 8n and add n squared. There's no like terms on this side, so I'm just going to kind of put it over to the side. These are going to cancel out. So my right side is now 0. The left side is positive n squared plus 8n minus 4. All right, so it's a quadratic trinomial again, so I'm going to try the AC method. Negative 4 and 8. So my options for the pairs for 4 are only 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. And there's no way I can get that to add up to 8. When there's no way to solve the X puzzle, you can't solve by factoring. So in this case, we're going to use the quadratic formula. So remember, the quadratic formula is the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So I'm going to rewrite this using a, b, and c. So I'm going to set up my formula using parentheses instead of letters first. And then fill in A, B, and C. So we have 8, 8, 1, 1, and negative 4. All right, so when you put that in your calculator, why don't you pause the video really quick and put that in your calculator. Make sure to do it both ways, once using plus and once using minus. All right, so your two rounded answers should be 0.47 and negative 8.47. Okay, next example. All right, so we want the right side to equal 0. So I'm going to add 2r squared. And there's no like term on the left, so I'm putting it off to the side. So now I have 2r squared minus 3r equals 0. So we can see in this equation, there's no c term. So I'm going to factor by GCF. So I can see that I can factor out r. So in the parentheses, I have 2r minus 3. So now that I've factored, my two factors are r and 2r minus 3. So set each one equal to 0. R equals 0, that's one solution, and 2r minus 3 equals 0. And r equals 3 over 2. Okay, one more example. So we need the right side to equal 0. So subtract 24. And we have 4x squared minus 16 equals 0. Okay, now I have it in standard form. And you'll notice that this one has no bx term. This means we can use the square root method. Or we can try the square root method. There will be some cases where you still will have to use the quadratic formula. But let's try the square root method. So in this case, I want the left side to have x squared by itself. So we're going to add 16. Then divide by 4. Then take the square root of both sides. So x equals positive and negative 2. So this is what you'll be doing in today's practice.